¿Qué está pasando, mi gente? What's going on? Thank you for this Tuesday night live. I'm your host, Kevin Dagger, and we're going to be talking about three of the most interesting things that I think that are going on as far as pop culture is concerned. We're going to be talking about the Royal Rumble. This past Saturday was a good time. We're going to be talking about a little bit of a recap. Then we're going to be going into the Raphael test footage. We're going to be going into my reaction on that. It's going to be a live reaction. I have not seen it yet. And then we're going to be finishing off with my thoughts on the problem that we're having with Batman and James Gunn DCU. And we're talking about all of that things and more. So thank you for being here. If you're on the live, give me some questions, give me your reactions, let me know what you're thinking. And if you're here, please give me a like. So we're going to start off with this past Saturday's Royal Rumble. Now, before I actually do get into my thoughts on that event, just a little bit of a background check if you're new to the channel or if you have been a fan of the channel and you don't know that much about me. I'm going to give you a very quick rundown. I was an active professional wrestler back in Puerto Rico and here in San Antonio, Texas. I was active from the years 2001 up until the beginning of 2014. So I have about 13 years of experience in ring as a performer, booker, producer, because now everything has to have a label, and I used to help with running down the actual match card. So I do have experience with professional wrestling. So that's just a very quick rundown on my experience in the wrestling business, and I've been watching wrestling since 1983. So I know a little bit about what we're going to talk about now. So the Royal Rumble was this past Saturday. Now the Royal Rumble is WWE's. They have four big shows every year. They have the Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Survivor Series. Not in that order, but those are the big shows. So Royal Rumble is that first show that leads us up until WrestleMania. You know what we're talking about. I don't have to explain it too much. So if you're a wrestling fan, our Christmas season, our holiday season is Royal Rumble all the way to WrestleMania. And Royal Rumble was the beginning of that road. So did it live up to expectations? We're going to talk match by match. There were 4 matches on that card. So we're going to start talking about that very quickly. So the night started off with the Women's Royal Rumble. Now, in the past, the ladies of the industry have always had this chip on their shoulder with that. Because a lot of people think that they're not as good as the men. Now, in the past, rightfully so, when you had that stereotypical match, women's match that unfortunately was considered by a lot of people to be bathroom breaks. But I'm very happy to say in the past, I would say 7 years, the ladies have stepped it up considerably. And I'm very happy to see that. So whenever we have the Women's Royal Rumble, they usually do start off the show because the match usually does last about an hour. So I can honestly say without a shadow of a doubt, the Women's Royal Rumble was a lot more entertaining. It was a lot more organized, and there was a lot better chemistry between the women in their match than the men later on in the night. So we have to start off with that. The match starts off with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. They've been a tag team for the past, I want to say, 10 months, give or take a couple of weeks. And Charlotte Flair really does owe Alexa Bliss a lot because she was the Royal Rumble winner last year, and that didn't do her any favors. People hated it. I'm one. Matter of fact, I went on the record to say that last year's Royal Rumble had the 2 worst winners of all time, being Charlotte Flair and Jey Uso for different reasons. And I'm on the record for that because on my show, not my show, but I'm part of a podcast called 100% Wrestling in Spanish. I've gone into it and I've explained why. If you want to check it out, it is in Spanish. Go to 100% Wrestling Podcast so you can see those shows. But anyway, back to the Rumble. They did start off pretty good. With Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Like I said, that match had a lot better chemistry, but it really didn't have a lot of memorable moments, and that's something that you want that viral moment, especially now with wrestling the way it is with social media and yada, yada, yada. And social media being such a big part of entertainment in general. I mean, it surpassed the wrestling, and the proof is in the pudding. If you go to WWE, it doesn't say wrestling company. It says production company. So they've kind of put the wrestling to the side, believe it or not. and now the forefront is actually the storytelling, the entertainment aspect. So wrestling has become secondary on a wrestling show. Um, it was pretty good. I mean, the only big surprise that we did have, big surprise, was when Brie Bella came back, to tag with her sister in the match. I didn't give a shit. I still don't give a shit. I'm not a fan of the Bellas. They're highly overrated, and they're more famous because of uh, who their boyfriend and husbands are than their actual wrestling skills. I said it before, and I stand by it. They're highly overrated. But as far as that moment, they did get a decent pop. Then again, they were in Saudi Arabia. They were not here. I don't know if they would have generated that same reaction here. That's up to debate. I mean, they do have their fan base thanks to Total Divas, and I really think that really did help them become fan favorites. But as far as being wrestlers, they're not that good. I'm sorry. I don't care who they're married to. I don't care who they were dating. They are highly overrated. But anyway, I've spent too much time talking about that. However, it was a lot better. Fast forward to the end of the match, because this match was about an hour long. I'm not going to get into every little detail. It was Sol Ruca, Liv Morgan, and Tiffany Stratton. And that last sequence was amazing. They did such a good job. They had everybody. I was fully engaged in that ending because I was rooting for Liv Morgan. Was my pick to win, and she did win, knocking off Tiffany Stratton. So as far as starting off the show, even though the Royal Rumble is a very long match, it was entertaining. And like I said, the women's match was better than the men's match. We're going to get into that. So the winner being Liv Morgan, I think it did live up to expectations, even though there weren't any big surprises. But we also have to remember, they were in Saudi Arabia. Are they really going to try to bring in people just for a pop when their roster, especially the women's roster, is very solid? I don't think it was needed. I think they did do the correct move, not trying to bring in more people. But it was good. It was highly entertaining, so I can't complain about that at all. So Liv Morgan is your WWE Royal Rumble's women's winner, and we have to see what's going to happen with her down the road, because she still has not declared which champion she will be going up against at WrestleMania. So that's good TV. They got us, wondering who she's going to wrestle with, who she's going to go with. She was on Raw last night. Didn't say she was going to do anything, but she did attack the champ, Stephanie Vaquer. And then she said, I'm going to end up in SmackDown, see what's going on over there. So at least as far as good TV is concerned, or at least let's just say good TV, because SmackDown really does suck, and Raw is hit or miss. At least they've got you guessing, and they're going to try and get you to tune in. Even though I think the way TV is set up now, I think most people just, especially that casual fan, they just go into the highlights. They go into their YouTube and they just check out. They check out what's going on. So that is a big reason why ratings are down. But Liv Morgan is your 2026 Royal Rumble Women's winner, and it was the right pick. Now, going on to the second match of the night, it was AJ Styles versus Gunther. And if AJ Styles lost that match, he would be retiring. And it was a good match. Even though Gunther is slow and has a character, he has not lived up to expectations, and that's not his fault. That's really creative, and the way they've booked his character in the last year and a half. He had such a good run, and then all of a sudden he just fell flat. Like ever since I think his downfall started with his loss to Sami Zayn. I think that was a big part of it. Not because he lost to Sami Zayn, he lost his Intercontinental Championship, and at that point he was like the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. But I think after that they did nothing with him. Nothing happened. He shows up, wins King of the Ring, does absolutely nothing until SummerSlam, right? Then he beats Damian Priest for the belt, and then his title run was kind of lackluster, but that's a whole different issue. So right now, Gunther is not the most popular wrestler on the roster, even though he did retire Goldberg, he did retire John Cena, he did make John Cena tap out like a bitch. But as far as character work, it's lacking, and it's not his fault. I think they've given him a direction where he does not feel comfortable. He's trying his best, but it's not working as far as engaging a new audience. Or I think people are more pissed off at the booking. The real heat is with the booking. It's not with him. He just happens to be the face that's on camera. I think people are upset with how he's being handled and with creative, right? He just comes out in front of the camera and he gets that reaction. But it's not because of him. It's because of what they've done with his booking. Anyway, that can be a whole different video. Going back to AJ Styles, rumors were going, this was going to be his last contract. Then news started to come out. His contract was going to be up in February. So even though he did say last year or 2 years ago that 2026 was going to be his last contract, we weren't expecting it to end in February, apparently. So it's not the ending we wanted for him. So it was a good match, very entertaining. It was slow pace. They gave that story. They tried to tell that story well, where he didn't want to give up and he was trying to fight for his career because he wanted to have that last run for 2026. But at the end, Gunther ends up knocking him out. He doesn't tap out. He just passes out. Talking about AJ Styles. So Gunther does win the match. It was a good match. That ending, though, I think, and this happens a lot, not only in wrestling, but in movies. When you get the ending that you don't want, you tend not to like it, even if whether it's good or bad, that's up to interpretation. I didn't like the ending. I would have liked for him to kind of give more of a fight, because if you watch the match, it wasn't that much of a fight. Like, he got caught twice in the choke, and then he kind of faded pretty quickly. I don't know if they were short on time, if the women's rumble ran a little long and they were short on time. But I felt like that ending was missing something, so a little bit more oomph, a little bit more fight, a little bit more of a struggle. Like, I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose. I can't pass out. I want to. It was that struggle from AJ I was missing, and maybe a little bit of a comeback. Some more false finishes. We didn't get that in that match. Maybe it was a little bit too predictable, but it was missing that heart at the end where you don't want the hero to go down. So, and I think I could have used a little more of that. Now, are all of his matches going to be like that? They shouldn't be like that, because it's going to start being a little bit more predictable every time he runs up to this. He every time Gunther's going to score up with the legend, he's going to retire him. So they've got to be very careful not to fall into a little bit of being a little too predictable, because at the long run, people are going to stop caring about that run, about Gunther having to beat legends. So they got to be very careful with creative. But as far as the match is concerned, it was entertaining, and that ending was. I just need a little something more from the ending, but it was what it was. We got what we got. So Gunther retires AJ Styles, yada yada. We move along. Now, the next match of the night was Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, unfortunately, is very. I think his character is played out in the sense where he keeps playing the underdog card, and he hasn't been an underdog in a long time. He hasn't been. The moment he defeated Gunther for the IC title, he stopped playing. He stopped being an underdog and started to become a main player. We're not seeing that. He's still sticking to that underdog shtick, and it's tiresome. It is tiresome, and he just does not look like a superstar, right? He's a great wrestler because he is, but he doesn't look like he can beat anybody credible because he hasn't. After Gunther, who has he beaten? That's a big name, and again, not his fault. It's creative, and I'm just doing it from a standpoint of the narrative and the storytelling. Like, okay, it's a big match. He's gonna lose. So going up against Drew, the whole purpose of that match was to put Drew over, because he's got to be a strong champ. Drew still hasn't had that moment. Yes, he beat Cody for the belt, and Cody beat Cena back in SummerSlam. So, but Drew really does need and deserve a strong heel run, because he's shown in the past what he can do with the story by himself. If you don't believe me, go back to his run with CM Punk about a year ago. This was such a good feud, and it was basically over a bracelet, right? The symbolism was the bracelet. That's all it was. And for a lot of that time, Punk was out. So you had Drew by himself carrying that story and people wanting CM Punk to whip his ass. That's great. That is not easy to do. And Drew is so good at it that I'm glad that he finally got that belt because it was owed to him because he was champion at the pandemic. And then he got cashed in by Damian Priest. So he really does deserve a good. He looks, dude. If you see Drew McIntyre, you're not gonna mess with him. You're not gonna fuck with him because he's impressive. He's a big guy, so he does deserve this title run. So the whole purpose of this match was for Drew to look solid, and he did. He whooped his ass. That's all that really needs to be said. He wins. Let's move on now. For the main event of this night, we had the men's Royal Rumble main event match. Winner goes up to challenge for the WWE title, or let me fix that because it's changed over the years. Sometimes it's for the main event at WrestleMania, and then sometimes they say, "Oh, they can challenge for whichever title they want." Depending on what they need is what they explain. So, but they did make it clear that the winner of the Royal Rumble match is going to have a main event at WrestleMania, right? Either for the Raw belt or for the SmackDown belt. The WWE title of the World Heavyweight, it doesn't matter. It's the same. It's the same shit, right? The belt doesn't make the wrestler makes the belt. That's just the way it is. So I think with the men's Rumble, I think they really did. It was hard. There were parts where it was very hard to watch. It didn't have a flow. It did look sloppy at times. It did start off strong with Braun Breaker coming in at number 2. And then him getting attacked and not even being able. We had Obafemi start the match. First of all, Obafemi is a freaking beast. I wouldn't have minded if he would have won the match because he's that credible. I'm glad he didn't because you can do so much with him. But if he did win, what are you gonna say? Dude is massive. He's a beast. He belongs, right? You know, and Vince isn't even there anymore. If Vince would have been there, he probably would have put him to win. But we had Obafemi at number 1. Then we had Braun Breaker number 2. He doesn't even get to compete because the masked wrestler, the masked man, whatever they want to say, the hooded wrestler. That's such a played out gimmick in wrestling, but it does work. Attacks him, gives him a curb stomp. You don't know who he is. People are speculating: is it Seth Rollins? Is it Logan Paul? Is it Theory? Is it somebody else that we don't know about? Don't know. That's the good thing about wrestling, trying to keep you guessing. So Braun Breaker gets eliminated, and then you have Obafemi just whooping ass, just kicking ass. And that's the way it should be. You had, again, not really a lot of surprises because they're in Saudi Arabia. You're not going to pay all that money for that. So I think it really did start to pick up after Cody got in. Not a fan of Cody, but it did pick up a little bit after that. Brock comes in. Brock gets eliminated 5 minutes after he comes in during Jey Uso's entrance. And oh my God, don't get me started on Jey fucking Uso. Don't get me started. Again, I'm on the record. Years ago, when he first started wrestling on his own as a singles competitor, I said, he's sloppy. He doesn't have it. They gave him main event Jey. I'm like, how could you be main event Jey and you've never won a main event? So they tried and they tried. Can't stand the yeet movement. You know, you're never going to see me yeet. Even if it's in a live show, you are never going to see me yeet because I cannot stand the character of Jey Uso. Now, let's get this clear because there's a lot of marks out there that do not know how to separate the two. I'm talking about the character of Jey Uso, but his ring work is sloppy. So I have never been a fan of his ring work as far as being a singles wrestler. Now, tag team, different story. Totally different story. And from what we've seen, Jimmy kind of was the guy that did all that work. He kind of did carry the team a little bit more than Jey, but that's another video to be debated about. That just took me out when Brock gets eliminated during his freaking entrance. He rolls it back. I'm pretty sure Brock said, "Just take me out. Just take me out. Forget this nonsense. Take me out." All right. So I can't stand Jey Uso. So there were moments where the whole Rumble did seem sloppy. I did not enjoy it as much as I did the women's Rumble. So it was not. Let's just say it wasn't as good. Now there's a lot of criticism and a lot of people complaining online. Oh, Roman Reigns wins the Rumble again, or he just wins the Rumble, right? Who else are you going to have? Last year, last year was John Cena's last run, right? It was his retirement tour. So the whole year was booked around that, even though he had certain dates. But that was the main focus for the whole year. And WWE managed to screw that up. Like there was no plan. There was nothing. Everything was, I swear to God, if you watch Unreal, you'll see it. And he's even said it. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Just enjoy the ride. No, there was no plan. And it was so lackluster until the last, I want to say, I don't know. I would say SummerSlam all the way up to the last match he had. That's when it picked up. But that first part was horrible. That heel turn was horrible. And I know people want to blame The Rock, but I really don't think The Rock was at fault that much because he had told them beforehand, I'm not available for Mania. And they kind of forced him to participate in the year. I believe it was the Elimination Chamber where he did that promo telling Cody, I want your soul and whatever the shit. He did the best with what he had at the moment, but he wasn't even supposed to be on that because he told them, I am not available. And he still did it to help the company. And he got shit for it. I'm not saying he's not egotistical because you don't get to where you are in the business of wrestling or Hollywood being a nice guy. You got to protect yourself, and The Rock has done that. That's why he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, I'm pretty sure. Right? A lot of fault and a lot of blame goes to The Rock. I don't think The Rock had that much to do with it. I'm thinking more creative, office, and that lack of communication between TKO and WWE. I think there was a lot going on there. Anyway, I'm going off on a rant. Last year was very Cena based. So they tried to build up stars, but they just couldn't because the focus was what? John Cena. Who else are you going to have to headline Mania that's going to sell tickets? You're going back. People need to remember you're going back to Vegas. There's a reason for that. You just can't do a half-ass show. And the guy that's going to headline your show is Roman Reigns. I don't care if you like him or not. That's just the facts. You can't deny what this man did with his run. Did he wrestle all the time? No, he didn't have to. They built up that character so well, and he played it so well that that's going to be irreplaceable. He's in that top tier box office up there with. He's on that Mount Rushmore, like it or not. When you look at that Mount Rushmore, I've got 5. I've got 5 people up there, and I've talked to that. And maybe I'll do some content in English for wrestling, and I'll get into that, and we can get into that discussion with y'all. But Roman's irreplaceable. And if you saw what happened on Raw last night, you know that was the right call. You know that's going to be main event night 2. You're not going to waste Roman Reigns on night 1. That's end of the show, Sunday night. We're going to watch it, and they're going to tear the house down. Because if you saw that promo between CM Punk and Roman Reigns, that is money. That is gold. So even though the Rumble was lackluster, it wasn't as good as it could have been. Having Roman win is the best, is definitely the right call. And if you don't like that, I'm sorry, man. If you were hoping for Cody, if you wanted Cody to be the main event, it's not going to happen. Cody's biggest accomplishment in wrestling is going to be defeating Roman at WrestleMania 40. There's nothing bigger he's ever going to do. That was it. That was the end of his story. That's it. He built 2 years. I got to finish the story. I got to finish the story. I got to finish the story. He won the belt. He finished that story. And as we all know, most of the times sequels suck. And Cody's sequel has sucked. I'm sorry. I am sorry. It just hasn't lived up to the hype. You have a lot of other wrestlers there, other boys, other workers there that can do so much better. And that can carry that belt. Even Drew, you just got to give him a good story. It hasn't happened yet. Hopefully they course correct. Maybe they'll do something interesting with Cody. Maybe they'll turn him heel. Maybe they'll learn from the mistakes from John Cena. But they've got to have a plan. They can't be doing this shit month by month. You've got to have a plan. Vince was a piece of shit as a human being. He was. But when he got into that mode that he wanted to write out the whole year from Mania to Mania, that worked. Is it harder now? Yeah. But WWE is at a point where they should be hiring people that could be doing this shit for the long run. They're not doing it. But then again, it's not WWE anymore. It's TKO. Ever since TKO took over, we've seen a lot of changes. And they're not necessarily for the better. But that's just wrestling, guys. That's just the way it is. I've been, like I said, I was active from 2001 to 2014. That's 13 years. Plus, I've been watching wrestling since 1983. So that's just my take on it. So as a whole, was the show entertaining? Yes. Was it a good start to the year? It was a pretty good start. It was, as far as pay-per-views are concerned, it was a pretty good start. Because last year they had a couple that were bad. They were really bad. And then after Raw, we have some hope that Mania is going to deliver this year. Because it has to. And I really think it will. But they got to keep this momentum going. So if you haven't seen the Royal Rumble, you want to go check it out. Well, you can't check it out now because of, now you got to pay the $30. But I'm saying it was a good show. It was a good show, and it is worth a watch. So if you can watch it, go ahead and go and watch it. So as far as the Royal Rumble recap, that's as far as it's gonna go. Now let's switch it up. We're gonna go talk about some Ninja Turtles. Now, just like in wrestling, I've been a fan of the Ninja Turtles since they came out, right? At least the cartoon. As I got older, I discovered the comics, those dark and gritty comics. But as a lot of you, that 1990s movie is very close and dear to my heart. And my opinion, it's the best Ninja Turtle movie of all time. As of now. So we have some test footage. Now, a lot of people say this is an independent test footage. I've always said these things come out just to try and test the waters. About a year ago, there was some test footage about Leonardo. Leonardo is my favorite turtle. I was like, give me this. If you have not seen that test footage, go watch it. It is amazing. It is excellent. Give it a chance. It's great. And I want more of that. So when I saw this came out, I shared it, but I didn't see it because I wanted to react with you guys on this. So let's go check out this test footage for Raphael. Hopefully, hopefully it's as good. Again, I haven't seen it. Let me connect this over here. Let's see what comes up. Hold on. Let me go over here. And let's see Raphael. That looks good. There's a sigh. No. Oh. That looks good. That looks damn good. Oh shit. Now hold on. Now, when I reacted, that first yell, it was because of this. It was because when he first comes out, let me see. Let me put it over here. Yeah, it was right here. Watch. As soon as he turns around, right there. If you're a fan, if you saw the 90s movie, you know that these scratches were on his show in that movie. So whoever did this is a diehard fan. I believe his name is, let me check. His name is John Likens. It's got 107,000 views. Be good one right there. The clip has 1 million views. It says here, this is Raphael Unleashed, the version of Ninja Turtles I've always wanted to see on the big screen. Enter into a darker side of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe, a world where brotherhood is tested, violence is consequences, and Raphael's rage is both his greatest weapon and his greatest flaw. All right, this is just... So he's doing this on his own. Do you know how much time it takes and detail? This shit ain't easy to do. Paramount needs to call this guy up, and they got to do this. I was very hyped when I heard that they were going to adapt The Last Ronin to live action. Unfortunately, it's been put on the shelf. You know, it's been pushed back. They're going to do something else. And I got hyped because, first of all, if you haven't read The Last Ronin, it is fucking amazing. It is amazing. And from what I heard, they were going to adapt The Last Ronin to tie it in with that first 90s movie. Like it was going to be a direct sequel to that. And that world is perfect because of the atmosphere. It's gritty. It's again, not only my favorite Ninja Turtle movie, but it's one of my favorite comic book movies, period. And it still holds up. Even with the cheesy jokes and the suits look amazing. I don't care. The movie holds up. Paramount needs to call this guy, and they got to do some. They got to do some work, because if this dude did this by himself, imagine what he can do if he had the right, the money for it. This is great. I need this. We need this. We need this. We need live action. This. Forget about the movie that you made before and all that. Even though I did enjoy Mutant Mayhem, but it was more for kids, just like, we were kids. We enjoyed it. And there were actual kids doing the voices. I did enjoy the Mayhem. I did enjoy Mutant Mayhem. The Bay movies, I mean, they were... I enjoyed the second one better. It's because it was closer to the show. But you can tell in that first Michael Bay Turtles movie that it was just a shit show, and they were reshoots, and they were supposed to be aliens at the beginning, and then they reshot it, and then you can tell that the other dude with the hair, he was supposed to be Shredder, and you can just tell they had a clusterfuck of shit in that movie. So I mean, again, they weren't for me. I'm a diehard 90s Turtle movie fan. To me, that's great. And that test footage looks amazing. Looks amazing. I'd keep it. I would keep that shit. I would keep that shit. But let me know what y'all think. Did you guys see the footage? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Do you want to see more of it? Or you just want to keep it like that, YouTube, and have the guy just keep, making those little shorts just because for fun? I think they should hire the guy, because I love the one he did with Leonardo, and he did Raph. That's 2 for 2. And he's going to get Mikey right. He's going to get Donatello right. And just for fun, do Casey Jones. Just do Casey Jones. Just for the hell of it. Get it done. But let me know what y'all think in the comments, guys. All right. So now that we've talked about the Rumble and we've talked about Ninja Turtles, we need to talk about Batman. Now, I want to say, I think it was in the summer, James Gunn did an interview, and he said that the hardest part for him right now is Batman. All right. Because Batman is the most popular DC character, IP, however you want to call it. Not only that, he's their biggest moneymaker, and he's trying to get it right. He also said that Batman has become boring because they've told all the stories. First of all, that's bullshit. That is bullshit, because we still haven't seen a good representation of Robin, aka Nightwing, on the big screen. We haven't seen it. Titans did pretty good. Titans got close, but we want to see this on the big screen. Haven't seen it yet. So we've seen bits and pieces of adaptations, right? So I'm thinking, okay, you're gonna do Brave and the Bold, and you're gonna just introduce Damien right off the bat. If you introduce Damien, you're getting rid of so many good stories, especially one that people want to see, which is Death in the Family, right? When they kill off Jason Todd. That's money right there. We haven't seen Nightfall on the big screen. Yes, Dark Knight Returns, Bane breaks his back. That doesn't count. That does not count, because if you've read Nightfall, I still have Nightfall. I have the whole series, I think. No, I got it. I had lost the ending where Azrael takes the mantle officially, not officially, because during the show, during the series, he does pick up the mantle, but that's the first time he shows up in the suit, in his Azrael Batman suit. You're missing so much of that story where Bane breaks out everybody from Arkham. Batman tries to get everybody. He tries to bring everybody back. He's exhausted. He's mentally and physically drained. And that's how Bane kind of wore him down little by little, broke him down little by little. And then when he goes up to the mansion and he breaks his back, that is good writing right there. And you're going to miss out on Nightfall. So we haven't seen a proper Nightfall. We haven't seen Death in the Family. But for you to do Death in the Family so that it hits home, you have to have Robin as an integral, as an important part of the Batman lore, and you have to see it. People know, but you need to see that relationship between Robin and Batman. All right, and to do that, you kind of have to start with Dick Grayson, but that's going to take too long. We don't have that. So I was thinking, and before we get into my worry with Brave and the Bold, is this: if Batman has been done too many times on the big screen, just to kind of get people up to where they want everyone to be, right? They want to do the movie. Why don't they just do a couple of seasons of a show with Batman? Go a different route. I'm very sure subscribers will go up for HBO Max. And now that Netflix bought Warner Brothers, that's going to be a whole different, it's going to be another mess. But anyway, why don't we do that to catch him up, right? One season could be Batman Year One, whatever. Then you could end it there when, or halfway when Dick Grayson loses his parents in the circus, right? When the Flying Graysons die. That's season one. Season two, you can get into other stories. Dick Grayson is a little older. You can kind of fast forward it, and then at the end, have him leave. Be Nightwing. You can have a season 3 introducing Jason Todd. And then see the different dynamic between Jason Todd and Dick Grayson. This is good. This would take a while, right? And I think that's the problem. Like, it would take like 7 or 8 years to do Batman to get him to where you want him to be so you can have Damien. So I don't know. It's he does have a point, but at the same time, it's a cop-out, right? If you're gonna go straight to Damien, then don't say they've told all the stories, because they haven't. They haven't. They've taken bits of it and they've shown it, but they haven't told all the stories. We haven't even seen Rush yet. So is it possible that Batman kind of works better as a show and have like each season be, I don't know, 8-10 episodes or whatever, and then have that, so you can catch up with all the stories, and then maybe have him in the movies? I don't know. Would that work? Don't know. But if you're going to go with Batman Brave and the Bold, apparently a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, it was announced that, let me find it over here. It was, oh my gosh, I had it here. And oh yeah, it was Christina Hudson has been hired to work on the script, to write the script. And you're probably saying, oh, Christina Hudson. I've heard that name. Might not be a good thing because she wrote Birds of Prey and The Flash. She also has Fast X Part 2, Batgirl that they shelved so they can get a tax write-off. And it says here, Shut In and Unforgettable. I haven't seen those. But I didn't see Fast X Part 2 because I'm not a fan of those movies. Like I saw the first one, the second one, and that was it. That was enough for me. But when you bring in the person that wrote Birds of Prey, that is a red flag. I'm sorry. Birds of Prey was horrible. That was trash. That movie was pure garbage. So I don't see why you would bring her in. And then not only did she make that movie horrible, she wrote The Flash. And even though The Flash had a lot of studio problems, you had the Ezra Miller issue with him being a piece of garbage, doing his shit over in wherever he was, choking people and having a cult and all this shit. Flash was supposed to be Flashpoint. That movie was already written for you. It was done. You could have had Jeffrey Dean Morgan to be Thomas Wayne as Batman. You could have had Joker with the mom. Oh my God, I forgot her name. She was on Supernatural and The Walking Dead. She would have been a great Joker for that universe. It was there. It was a layup, and you missed it. Y'all missed that shit. Was I happy to see Keaton back? Yes, I was happy to see Keaton back. Of course. But I would rather have Flashpoint. And then you can bring in Reverse Flash. They could have done so much. And even with all that, the movie was not that bad for what it was. It just wasn't what it could have been. It should have been Flashpoint. So they missed that layup. And with all of that, that was the best you can do to write a Flash film? Really? Having all that source material? Why? And I didn't hate The Flash. It just wasn't what it could have been. But Birds of Prey was garbage. And that was directly with Batman characters. Oh, and The Flash had 3 Batmen. Well, 2.5 because you had Clooney at the end as Bruce, but that's something else. I don't know. I'm worried. I did like Superman. I gave Superman a 7 out of 10. I really did. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I liked it. It's a good start. I can't wait to see Supergirl. I want to see Lobo. I want to see how they adapt that story, that Supergirl story from the comics. I want to see that. And I'm excited to see Lanterns also, which is a show. But I'm worried about Batman. I am very worried about Batman because it's not looking good. Just based on that, it is not looking good. So I don't know about you guys. I'm worried about it. I am very, very extremely worried about it. They have a lot of issues. They have a lot of trouble. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I threw out there, just make it into a show. Make Batman a show. Give us 5 seasons of him going through year 1, Robin, The Long Halloween, Nightfall, Hush, whatever. You have so many stories, man. And now with the streaming services, you can get it done. You actually could. So I don't know, man. I'm not pumped for it. I'm worried. I'm actually worried. This is the first time that I'm actually worried about Batman. Because I even gave the Batman a shot. And I think the Batman is highly overrated. It really is. I saw it once, tried to see it again. I fell asleep. Penguin was good. Penguin was very good. But the Batman, I didn't feel it, man. I'm sorry. I don't know, but what do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think. You guys are looking forward to the Batman Brave and the Bold? Are you worried about the writer that she did write Birds of Prey and The Flash? Let me know in the comments. Let's see what you guys are thinking. As Miguel says here, do you want to see Wonder Man? Yes, I actually do. And not because I'm a Marvel fan, because I used to be a Marvel fan, but the past 4 or 5 years have been trash. I've heard a lot of good things about it, so I am going to give it a shot. I'll give it 2 episodes, and if I dig it, I'll keep going. But if after 2 episodes I'm not digging it, I'm just going to stop right there because I can't keep going because I've wasted too much time with Marvel. And my time is very important. I can't be wasting any more time. But anyway, guys, that's all I had this today for as far as movie talk. Thanks for joining in. If you like more of this, if you like this content, just give me a subscribe and a like. I'm going to give you some more. I'll try to keep this thing going on Tuesdays, hopefully. If you like wrestling content in Spanish, you can go check my other channel, Kevin Dagger Wrestling. I do live Raw watch-alongs. Then on Wednesdays, I do reviews of AEW Dynamite after the show is over. And then I'm also part of the #1 wrestling podcast in Spanish, 100% Wrestling Podcast. You can catch them on YouTube, and you can catch us also in any of your streaming services as far as your audio, your podcast services. So thanks for joining in. I'll see you the next time. Peace out. Take care. Later.